everybody. We have one more speaker for you. Somebody representing Europe for Scotland. I'm sure you've all heard of that. You've heard of the list already. Of all the places across Europe that are celebrating tonight in the way that we are. And we have, luckily tonight, Bob Hastings, who is the ambassador, one of the ambassadors for Spain on that group. But he's here at the moment because he's not in Spain, obviously. And he's going to just say a few words for you. Bob.
Great to be here. Although since I've come all the way from Cordoba in Spain, it would have been nice if you turned the thermostat up a wee bit. And since I'm here representing Europe for Scotland, sorry about that, I'd like to give you all a chance to show off your linguistic skills, your knowledge of modern European languages. So, good evening in French is bonsoir. Bonsoir. In Spanish, buenas tardes. Buenas tardes. In Italian, buona serata. German, guten Abend. Guten Abend. And this is a bit tricky, it's Polish. Hold on. Dobry wieczór. Brilliant. You see the wonders of Scottish education? Absolutely brilliant. Now, I'm from Dundee, as you can't tell from my accent, and my folks live in Errol, but I've been living in Spain for 37 years, and before that I spent 4 years in France. And wherever you go in Europe, or indeed almost anywhere in the world, when you say you're from Scotland, people know exactly what you mean. Because Scotland's got a very strong global image. Okay, sometimes it's just tartan and bagpipes and whiskey and the Loch Ness Monster. But everywhere you go, people know that Scotland is not a region, it's a country! Yay! It's true that sometimes people in Europe get a wee bit confused and they mix up England and Britain. You often hear reporters on French television, for example, talking about le gouvernement anglais, or in Spanish politicians might mention el primer ministro inglés. Right? They mix up Britain and England a lot. But this confusion is understandable, because after all, let's face it, the British Parliament is the English Parliament. The British government governs this so-called United Kingdom solely according to the interests of England. The Westminster legislation that led to today's unfortunate verdict from the Supreme Court just shows that England rules Britain. It proves that Scotland is not an equal partner in a voluntary political union. And perhaps the most egregious example of this lack of democracy is Brexit. The wishes of 62% of the Scottish people to remain in the European Union were simply ignored. I want Scotland to regain its independence, and I want to see Scotland back in the EU as a sovereign, independent nation. The aim of Europe for Scotland is to ensure that the EU and European national governments agree to welcome Scotland back into the European Union. So please check us out online, and if you know any European citizens or Scots living abroad, please encourage them to join with us in our fight for Scotland in Europe. So here's the statement from Europe for Scotland I'm going to read to you today. European friends, and Scottish friends too, because we're all Europeans, today is a sad day for Scotland and for all Europeans who believe in democracy. This morning the UK Supreme Court certified that the UK's unwritten constitution does not allow the Scottish Parliament to fulfil the democratic mandate from the Scottish people for a new independence referendum. Whilst the UK government withholds its permission, Scotland is trapped in constitutional limbo, stuck in a voluntary union against its democratic will. We all know that the United Kingdom is all but united, For decades, Scotland and England have been on divergent political paths with radically different ideas for their future. It was England that voted for Margaret Thatcher, David Cameron, and Boris Johnson. Scotland not only rejected each and every one of them, but in fact didn't vote for any of the last 10 Tory Prime Ministers. It was England that voted narrowly to leave the European Union. Scotland never wanted to leave and voted overwhelmingly to remain. It is England that would like to be global Britain. All Scotland wants is to be in charge of its own destiny and not be collateral damage for England's terrible choices. How many more Tory Prime Ministers should be inflicted in Scotland against its democratic will?
None!
How many more years should Scottish businesses suffer because of Brexit?
None!
How many more generations of young Scots should be deprived of Erasmus and opportunities to freely travel and work in Europe?
None!
How much longer should Scots be denied their democratic right to choose their own future?
No longer!
Scots deserve the same rights and opportunities that we Europeans enjoy, and that's why we're here today to express our solidarity and to tell Scots that we stand with you. This evening, my friends from Europe for Scotland are gathered in solidarity in 6 European cities. Tonight we're in Perth, we're in Edinburgh, but we're also in Berlin and Rome and Dublin and Paris and Munich and Brussels. And tomorrow we'll also be in Denmark. And in a town called Skive, by the way. That's Our message is simple. Scots are not alone. Are they lazy or not? Europeans support Scotland's democratic right to choose its own future. And Europeans would love to welcome our Scottish friends back into our European family and build a better Europe together. The Scottish people's mandate for a new independence referendum must be respected by the UK government. Brexit must not be Scotland's destiny. Europeans will always keep a light on for Scotland. The fight is not over.